So hello, everyone. Welcome to Frontrunners Innovate, where we connect you to global leaders who are all innovating and creating positive impact in the world. So today's guest is Ashish Shrestha, and he is the founder of Sambhavya Foundation, if I said that right, Sambhavya, and that is based in Nepal. And Ashish is putting his master's in clinical psychology to good use, having created a model program in 27 schools there, transforming the mental health space for youth in the education environment. He is a pioneer and a true innovator, and you know how we feel about innovators here at Frontrunners Innovate. I am your host, Mary Kurek, Global Business Developer and CEO of Frontrunners Development, where we believe that if you connect business, you can change the world. So welcome, Ashish. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you very much, Mary. It's such an honor for me to participate, to be here in this podcast.
Well, thank you. You are doing a fantastic job over there, and we're just very pleased to show you off as a model for other people to follow. So before we get to all that, tell us a little bit about your background and what brought you into the work that you're doing right now.
Well, I've always been passionate in education, and I'm always trying to do things in schools, work with children. And it started when, during the 2015 devastating earthquake, where I volunteered Japanese Red Cross, and I was an undergrad student as a social work, and I had a major in psychology. There I saw a lot of things that made me bring here and work with children, do something that make a bigger changes. And when I saw so many things were provided to the children, but there were no provision of mental health services or no access of mental health services to any, then I started continuing my education and started working in Himalayan region as a trainer, as a psychosocial support service provider, and a community liaison officer. Then I was again, I started working at one of the rural area in Nepal. It's Sambhavya. Even there are so many things where provided the infrastructure, the education materials, everything, but yet no provision of mental health services or access to mental health services. Then I realized, I came back to my home, did my postgraduate in school counseling, started my master's in clinical psychology, and even established my own nonprofit, which is totally school-based nonprofit, and it's Sambhavya. At first, we started visiting back to the place I started my journey in Sindhupalchok, which was actually affected by earthquake, very much devastated. I started there with 3 schools. I went there by myself, started mental literacy program, aware students about mental health, provided all the services I could. And I still remember that providing counseling services nearby the riverbanks, because they never had any counseling rooms. They offer me the principal room, the computer classes, so that I could make things confidential and provide the services as much as possible, and reach out to the students as much as possible. That's how we started Sambhavya.
Sambhavya, there has to be a meaning to that name. What is it?
Yes, Sambhavya means possibilities. So we are reimagining possibilities in promoting mental health in Nepal, because the human resources are very low. The access of mental health services in schools of Nepal is, I must say, it's near to zero. When we started, there were no school counselor at any community schools, and not even a counseling room. Sambhavya established 4 counseling rooms, which is first of its kind here in Nepal.
That's amazing. So can you paint us a little bit of a picture? You say there is very little of those types of services there. And honestly, around the world, I think you'd find the same thing. I know part of it is sort of a taboo, right? That people just don't talk about mental health. And again, that's a worldwide problem. But are there conditions there where you are that maybe are presenting more mental health challenges? we know that the pandemic caused a lot of issues with the youth and their mental health and struggling to keep up friendships and the social isolation and those sorts of things. But I know that where there are disasters that are, more prone in certain areas of the world, that also can lead to some mental health issues. What's going on there that you think that you're hearing more of, or that you see more of, that you need to address?
Well, to be very honest, we are currently working in more than mental health conditions. We are actually preventing the students from mental health conditions. So we are using a trans-diagnostic approach where we want students to be more aware about mental health and resilient, work on more coping strategies rather than going to the therapist for now, because the access is very low here in Nepal. And about the mentions, I remember back then in 2015, I tend to meet so many children having post-traumatic stress disorders. Things were very worse at that time. I was a trainee at that moment. I was under supervision of clinical psychologists from Hong Kong. And the children were drawing so many houses, the devastated houses. They were expressing things. They were having nightmares at that time, and which is currently different in Nepal. Like it's more than trauma. The substance abuses, the students are they have substance abuse. They lack sleep. They are isolated. They are emotionally drained, and I have to be very honest that it's very tough to share that the students they are very much detached with their parents. They don't have a support circle here in schools of Nepal, but which is actually changed after Sambhavya started working. You won't believe that now the schools have a very different culture. They are very much open to talk about mental health. They are very much open to share about the problems they're going through. I should be very much thankful to the private schools and the community schools that actually welcomed our model.
That's fantastic. You're just providing such a good service for these youth. What ages do you work with? Because you work across 27 schools right now. And so give us an idea, sort of a snapshot of the age groups that you work with, or at least the grades, the school grades that you work with.
So we are working with primary, elementary, and high schools. So for the primary level, we are working on social emotional learning program rather than providing mental health services. And we have mental literacy program for the higher secondary grades. And our program offers only 10% of counseling services. We are more into preventive aspect. We work with the students on social emotional learning, self-reflective and activity-based programs where they understand mental health, they understand well-being, and they believe that being resilient is much of the need with the human resources we have here in Nepal.
So you, who developed the programs that the curriculum that you're using?
So we're collaborated with a few organizations from United States. So we are with Letters to Stranger, who have supported us with the mental literacy program. And we have collaborated with Samantha Foster, who is actually the creator of our CEL program. And we have adapted her program and designed it into a very different CEL program that is actually needed in Nepal, and it is actually designed for the schools of Nepal.
Wow. Okay. And, I know we talked about this right before we went on record, how many organizations, nonprofits, small nonprofits out there would wish to be able to have the relationship that you apparently have been able to develop to be able to get into 27 schools. So how did you manage that? How did you get those partnerships in place?
So, well, I remember Father Joe Thaler. I'm very much indebted to him. He gave me $2,000 to start my nonprofit back then in 2018, where I approached 3 schools where I previously worked as a PSS facilitator back then in 2015 to support the traumatized children and who were in crisis during the earthquake. So I approached them at first, and after that, the so many schools they really loved our program, the impact we have made in that particular schools, and they started calling us, requesting us for.
They called you. You didn't have to go to them.
Yeah.
That's amazing. That's
Yeah. Then
fantastic.
we started traveling back outside the valley to Baglung, where our counselors they actually trekked to the schools because there were no transportations. And I'm very much thankful to the private schools here in the capital city. We are currently working with 15 private schools here in Nepal. We are in Kathmandu, and they're very much welcoming. They have actually prioritized mental health, and they actually invited us to collaborate on this particular model.
Wow. So let's go back to the word impact that you just suggested here that you're creating. Do you have any measurements? Are you collecting any data on the types of impact that you're creating now?
Yes, we always do a pre-test and post-test every year on different topics. And I remember the last data we collected, 64% of the students, they were happy with our support mechanism. They were happy to visit to the counselor. They are very much satisfied with the services that we are providing. And 73% of the students, they actually liked our social emotional learning program and wanted to upgrade it into their new classes in new academic year.
Wow.
Do also have site assessment. Like we conduct various assessment to make sure the students are not at risk. And it's the ecosystem model and our multidisciplinary approach. It's not just school counselors that are working at the school. Rather, we have psychiatrists, clinical psychologists, professional from public health, and counseling psychologists, and MA in clinical psychology, various MSPSS professionals working with us.
Wow, you must have a lot of volunteers that you work with, and maybe some of them from local universities that are helping
Yes.
you.
Yes, they're actually from Nepal, and they have been volunteering, supporting from 2018.
Well, maybe they're getting some credit for that, some school credit if they're from a university and their students.
Yeah, the beauty of Sambhavya is it's them actually making an impact. Sambhavya is just a name.
That's the vehicle for it, but they're making the impact. Yeah, that's fantastic. You know what you wish for is that some of the students that are a little bit older that go through your program will actually adapt to the model and maybe come back and help you by volunteering or something through the program. That's just the best of all worlds, isn't it? So hopefully that will happen. Yeah. How old is the program again? I think you mentioned that to me before, but how old is the program? I think you froze up. There you go. Yeah. How? When did you start it? Yeah.
Pardon?
When did you start the program?
The whole program?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we started in 2018. It's almost 6 years now.
Oh, wow. Okay. You're still kind of young. I mean, it's still kind of a young program, but you're doing really well. This is fantastic. So what are you doing now to prepare for the next few months to finish out the end of the year? I know that you probably have some ideas about expanding what you're doing, maybe throughout Nepal and maybe even beyond, but tell me what you think.
Yeah, reaching out to 35,000 schools has always been inside my head.
Whole lot more than 27.
Yeah. So what we dreamt of is each and every school, either it's community or public school or private school, they should have at least one school counselor and a mental literacy program. So what at least by 2025 we want to reach 300 schools. That's our goal for now, and at least mobilize one social emotional learning educator and a school counselor at one school.
Mm-hmm. other than the human being factor of what you're doing, are you making use of any technology to help you expand?
Well, actually, we designed a mobile application, but we are not sure that if, because of the technological advancement, we really want to keep these things very much confidential. And I personally believe that that's not secure, especially in a country like Nepal. But we do have a
No, it
digital
seems like it
program.
lends itself to maybe some, because you've got some programs and, curriculum that maybe would lend itself to being more of
Yeah,
a technology-based online learning type of thing.
yeah, we have our own digital programs. The cell program, the cell model is more of a digital model, and also we are planning to reach out to the parents as our program is ecosystem model program. We work with parents, the caregivers, the teachers, and everyone those who are connected with the school. So our team they are working on the training module and trying to reach out to everyone possible who are in touch with the school.
Well, that's how you get to sustainability. You just nailed it. Get to all the stakeholders and make it happen.
True.
So there is a train the trainer program that will help expand to those 300 schools that you want to get to by the end of 2025. So that's good. Well, what types of people do you think that you need to meet? Obviously, you need some more volunteers there, it sounds like, to get to that place, but you're kind of a young, small community organization that needs to grow pretty rapidly. And certainly the model is getting some play out there where people are hearing about you and they want you there. But at some point, you're going to expand beyond your teachers and counselors being able to trek to to the next school to be able to get it done. So what do you need? Who do you need?
So, well, for now, we believe that this model has been impactful from last 6 years. So we want this to be shared with each and every country, each and every organization. So we are looking forward to working with the UN agency, UNICEF, UNESCO, if possible, and other mental health organizations like Young Minds and Barter from Australia. I think this is something that all the schools are willing to have, because I believe we have cracked this program and we have done so much of R&Ds. We have actually made a statistical progress in last 6 years. So if it's possible, we'd love to work with the UN agencies first, because they have a massive impact globally, and we want to be a part of them to share this, to deliver this program all over the world.
If you had to make a guess on a country that you could work with, partner with to expand this to next, what would you think, or who would you think that you would move it to?
Well, I'd always say United States, where mental health, they have upgraded mental health programs into very much impactful and massive upgrade. So I would love to work there. I'd love to work with the people from America and reach out to the countries who never had any access to mental health services. I remember school psychology, they started right after World War II.
I didn't know
I
that.
think yeah, they have. I think the United States have so much of knowledge about school mental health comparing to anybody else in the whole world.
Wow, that's amazing. I'm just writing down names, by the way, if you see me with the pen in the hand. So that's how that works. And thinking out loud. Is there any chance that you would expand beyond high school with your mental health programs into the college age?
We have not planned anything yet, because we are very much happy and satisfied working with the child and adolescent age group, and we have been making an impact. So maybe in future we might think of working with the college-going students. But for now, we are happy, and we are very much making an impact with the students
Mm,
from primary and high schools.
okay. Well, I can tell you that from some of the work that I do, I know that in working with some university like foundations, one of the things that I have heard said to me that some of the university presidents were concerned, and this was not too long ago, but again, post-pandemic, that there's still some fallout mental health wise for particularly university students. And so there was real concern from presidents of universities about that. So the other thing that's happening, if you read the news, is there's some violence happening on some of the school campuses, around. And I don't know that that's just the United States. That could be anywhere in the world. I don't know. I just pay attention to it when it happens around here. So sometimes there's somebody coming on campus with a weapon or who has actually discharged the weapon and maybe hurt somebody or even killed somebody. So it's just a lot of unrest, let's just say, in campuses. And so a lot of that, I think, stems from some people not paying attention to the mental health of either their students or their, parents not seeing it because their student is not living with them anymore. And so they're not seeing it every day, so they can't address it. So I'd say, yeah, that's a good direction to go in at some point, especially if you want to expand into the US. But I would leave it with this. So we now know what types of people that you need. So anybody out there that's listening that's associated with UNESCO or UNICEF or any of the programs that are involving the children out there, which we know there are plenty, then pay attention to this young man because he has a model for you and is interested in partnering. So thank you, Ashish, and again, praises for all the wonderful work that you're doing in this great model. I could so see it fitting in well with other, ministries of education and some of their programs and that sort of thing out there, because like you say, it's needed. It's not the first thing everybody thinks of, especially in countries where they are in need of so many other things. This is not something that they tend to concentrate on, but it's so important because it's like a foundational piece. It's the foundation that you can learn, on top of. If you don't have this in place, your good mental health, then you're just not going to learn like you should. So let's all pay attention to this. So I say thank you to you. You stay with me for a minute, and I'm just going to say goodbye to everybody else and tell them that if you're watching this on YouTube or anywhere else you get your podcast, iTunes and that sort of thing, then go to www.frontrunnersinnovate.com where you'll get this entire interview along with bio and contact for Mr. Shrestha. And so we will definitely make sure that you have the availability to get a hold of him. Anyway, thank you very much. And until next time, happy front running.